Your translator is lying. The billionaire froze after hearing the single-dad waiter's secret. The crystal glass slipped from the billionaire's hand and shattered across the marble floor the instant. The exhausted single-dad waiter leaned close and quietly whispered, "Your translator is lying to you, and if you sign that contract today, you'll lose everything." Every conversation inside the luxurious ballroom stopped feeling important. The translator standing beside the billionaire smiled confidently, but the waiter had already noticed something that no one else had. One sentence was about to change the lives of everyone in that room forever. Before we continue, if you believe kindness can come from the most unexpected people, and that everyone deserves a second chance, please like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who believes in humanity, and subscribe to Beyond Kindness for more emotional stories that stay with you long after they end. The annual International Charity Gala was held inside the most luxurious hotel in New York City. World leaders, business owners, celebrities, and investors filled the magnificent ballroom, decorated with golden chandeliers and white roses. At the center of attention stood Eleanor Hayes, one of the youngest self-made billionaires in America. She had built an international technology company from nothing after losing both parents at a young age. Her intelligence had earned respect across the world, but success had also created loneliness. She trusted very few people, especially during international business negotiations, where language barriers forced her to depend completely on professional translators. Working quietly among hundreds of guests was Daniel Carter, a 38-year-old waiter who had never imagined his life would lead him there. Every morning before sunrise, he prepared breakfast for his 8-year-old daughter Lily, braided her hair the best he could, despite never learning properly, packed her school lunch, and hurried to work before beginning another exhausting shift. 3 years earlier, his wife had died after a sudden illness, leaving him to raise Lily alone while drowning in medical debt. Every dollar he earned disappeared into rent, food, school supplies, and hospital bills that never seemed to end. His uniform was perfectly clean, but the soles of his shoes had nearly worn through. Few people knew that before tragedy changed his life, Daniel had worked as a language analyst for international humanitarian organizations. He spoke 5 languages fluently and specialized in identifying subtle differences in meaning during sensitive negotiations. After his wife's illness forced him to leave his career, he accepted whatever work he could find. His knowledge remained, even though his professional life had disappeared. Throughout the evening, Daniel carefully served expensive meals, while quietly overhearing fragments of conversations spoken in different languages. When Eleanor began private negotiations with an influential foreign investor, Daniel instantly recognized the language. At first, everything sounded normal, but then one translated sentence made his heart race. The foreign businessman politely explained that both companies would equally share ownership and intellectual property. The translator, however, told Eleanor that the investor demanded majority control because he supposedly doubted her leadership. Eleanor's expression immediately hardened. Tension filled the room. Daniel continued listening. Again and again, the translator completely changed important parts of the conversation. Respect became insults, partnership became surrender, mutual investment became complete financial control. Every lie carefully pushed both sides toward anger, while secretly protecting hidden clauses buried inside the contract. Daniel's hands began trembling. He understood exactly what was happening. Someone had bribed the translator to manipulate the entire negotiation. If Eleanor signed those documents based on the false translation, she would unknowingly transfer enormous portions of her company's future technology rights. Billions of dollars and thousands of employee jobs would eventually disappear. Daniel faced an impossible decision. Interrupting private negotiations between billionaires could cost him his job instantly, Hotel management had strict rules. Waiters were invisible. Speaking during confidential meetings meant immediate dismissal, but remaining silent would destroy innocent lives. He thought about Lily waiting at home, believing her father always did the right thing even when life became difficult. That memory made his choice. Walking slowly toward the negotiation table while pretending to refill water glasses, Daniel leaned toward Eleanor and quietly delivered the sentence that changed everything. "Your translator is lying." Time seemed to freeze. Eleanor looked directly into his eyes. She expected fear, hesitation, or uncertainty. Instead, she saw complete confidence. The translator immediately accused Daniel of misunderstanding the language and trying to embarrass everyone. Hotel security started moving toward the table while executives demanded the waiter be removed immediately. But Daniel remained calm, instead of arguing emotionally. He respectfully requested permission to translate the next several minutes, stammered himself. The room fell silent. The foreign businessman agreed. For the first time that evening, both sides actually understood each other. Within moments, confusion turned into shock. The investor had never insulted Eleanor. He had praised her achievements. He had never demanded control. He wanted equal partnership. The translator had invented every offensive sentence. Security officers quickly detained the translator while investigators reviewed the original documents. Hidden payments connecting him to a competing corporation were discovered within hours. The entire scheme had been carefully designed to destroy Eleanor's company from the inside, without anyone realizing until it was too late. The ballroom buzzed with disbelief. Everyone kept asking the same question. How could an ordinary waiter understand complex international negotiations better than highly paid professionals? Eleanor invited Daniel into a private conference room after the event ended. She expected to hear an extraordinary story. Daniel quietly explained everything. He described his former career, his wife's illness, the impossible medical expenses, and the painful decision to abandon the profession he loved. He spoke about raising Lily alone, working double shifts, and pretending every day that everything would somehow become easier. He never asked for money. He never requested a job. He simply apologized if speaking out had caused problems for the hotel. Eleanor listened without interrupting. For someone surrounded by far powerful executives every day, Daniel's honesty felt unfamiliar. He had risked everything without expecting anything in return. The following morning, Eleanor visited the small apartment where Daniel and Lily lived. The tiny home contained almost nothing beyond necessity. Worn furniture, second-hand books, carefully folded school uniforms, and countless handmade drawings decorated the walls. Lily proudly introduced her stuffed rabbit, whose ears had been stitched together multiple times by her father, because buying a new toy wasn't possible. While Eleanor admired the apartment, she noticed something remarkable. Despite having almost nothing, father and daughter laughed constantly. There was love everywhere. That afternoon, Eleanor asked Daniel to become a cultural communications advisor for her international foundation. The salary was higher than anything Daniel had ever earned before. More importantly, the schedule allowed him to remain fully present in Lily's life. Daniel hesitated. He worried that accepting such an opportunity might feel like charity. Eleanor gently explained that she wasn't rewarding kindness,